watching Sun TV, broadcasting to the world from studios in Providenciales, in the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands. Sun TV, your source for real news as it happens.
Who set many freediving records in the Turks and Caicos Islands, said these islands have enjoyed a worldwide reputation for celebrating its wild marine life, thanks in part to JoJo, the wild dolphin, as well as the release into the wild of 3 captive dolphins from other dolphinariums. This, she said, is why the proposal to hold dolphins in captivity strikes her as supremely ironic and counterproductive. Streeter, who is from the Cayman Islands, made her feelings known in a strongly worded letter to Governor Rick Todd, which was copied to local and international media and the Turks and Caicos Islands Tourist Board. She said the Turks and Caicos Islands' main attraction is its unspoilt environment, not glitzy hotels, mega yacht facilities, and artificial islands for luxury homes in the middle of national parks. She added that this kind of development runs completely contrary to the image that she and many other long-term repeat visitors treasure of the islands. The 39-year-old Streeter said that if this wanton destruction of the environment continues with the approval of government, she will feel compelled to publicly withdraw her endorsement of the Turks and Caicos Islands and recommend that tourists visit more eco-friendly destinations that truly embrace being beautiful by nature. Governor Rick Todd has officially released his formal statement leading up to the November 9th general election, saying he would like to personally thank all of the men and women who have contributed to this success in TCIG as well as in the private sector and the UK for their courage and strength in getting this job done. In an interview with Sun TV, Todd told the people of the TCI, quote, quite simply, Friday's election is down to you, end quote. When asked about the interim administration's performance and transparency thus far, Governor Todd had this to say.
Well, I think everyone knows that TCI has been through a very difficult period over the last 3 years. No one here needs me to remind everyone about the perfect storm that happened in 2008 and 2009, where you had the collapse of the government, the old report about the corruption of maladministration at that time. There was then a global financial downturn and Hurricane Ike. And all of that put TCI in a very difficult economic and financial position. Since then, we can say there's been growth in 2010. The economy grew by 4.3% in 2011, which is a figure many countries across the world are green with envy about. The economy will grow again this year, not least because there's been a number of significant investments announced in the past few months. So I think that the people of TCI have every reason to look forward to the future with optimism. Certainly when I came here, and I remember it 14 months ago, what I said in the inauguration speech, that our objective was to ensure elections happened on TCI before the end of 2012. I think some people didn't think it was possible. I was always convinced it was possible, and we have worked very hard with people all across the TCI, including in the TCI government, to make that happen. And so now we face a new chapter in the history of TCI, and it's a chapter which I think everyone can approach with hope and optimism. I think the country is in reasonable shape, the economy is doing quite well, there's been a lot of changes and reforms, and there's a strong commitment all across the islands to make this a well-governed, honest, transparent place where people can prosper and where the economy develops. I also think it's been interesting to see how well the election campaign has been going, and I'm very grateful, everyone is, I'm sure, much appreciates the way that the parties and the politicians have run a campaign based on the issues. I'm also very grateful for the way the parties and the leaders have engaged with permanent secretaries to prepare for government, and with me, myself, talking about these things. In fact, a pastor said to me just the other day, a very wise pastor, that in his experience this was the most orderly, the most civilised and the best conducted election campaign that he could remember. So as people go to the polls on the 9th of November, I think they have a lot of reasons to be optimistic. From my point of view, I'm certainly looking forward to being able to appoint a new Premier and a new Leader of the Opposition, depending of course on the results of the polls on Friday.
In many countries in the West Indies, some elections end with candidates having to battle each other in court. Governor Todd assured the people of the TCI that he is satisfied that this election process will have very little glitches, if any.
We have done everything possible. The team, led by Dudley Lewis and some expert advisors, have done an amazing job in getting everything ready. I think we will have a very good election. I'd like to say there will be no glitches. There may be But we have observers here from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. I think we can all be confident that the election is going to be well run. It'll be free and fair, and people will have the chance to express their views without fear or favour. I personally will spend Friday just going round the islands with the police commissioner. We'll visit the polling stations. It'll be a chance for me to say thank you to the returning officers and the officials for all the great job which they have done. And also I think what we can also see here on TCI is that the weather's going to be good. You can't say that about elections in the UK.
When asked about the salaries of elected and appointed members of the House of Assembly, Governor Todd endorsed the work of the Integrity Commission and also clarified a matter of jurisdiction.
I think the Integrity Commission is a very important organisation. Its role is both to set standards, but also to ensure they are maintained, and to work with people who are in public life to make sure those standards work. So I'm very grateful to them for what they've done. They have an important role in the future, and I know that not only me as governor, but also the elected government and all the institutions which are set out in the Constitution will want to work together to ensure that the objectives of the Integrity Commission, which is quite simply honest, well-run government, proper behaviour by public servants, and the assurance to people that what is done in their name with their money is done properly. It's a very important role for the Integrity Commission, and I'm very grateful to them for it. And I know everyone supports what they're trying to achieve. The Integrity Commission sets out a recommendation for what they believe the salaries should be for ministers and for members of the Legislative Assembly. And then ministers of the Legislative Assembly have to take a decision on that recommendation. It's not something I, as governor, have been involved in.
In recent days, a vast number of people here at the TCI have been calling for the governor to return to the UK, calling him a dictator, and more recently, a petition has been put out with regards to the same. Governor Todd replied.
I have the honour and pleasure to be Governor of the Turks and Caicos Islands. I've been appointed by Her Majesty the Queen on the advice of the Principal Secretary of State, Mr. William Hague, and so long as I enjoy their confidence, I will stay here. And as far as I know, I do, and I still enjoy Her Majesty's pleasure, which is a great honour.
Sandy Willis, who is charged for theft with regards to some $8,723 from InterHealth Canada, was brought before Chief Magistrate Clifton Warner on Wednesday, November 7th. Samantha Clinton represented the Crown and Glenda Clark was the lawyer for Willis. The matter was set to be tried in January of 2013 in the Supreme Court upon the request of Willis. Willis was made to surrender all travel documents and was granted bail in the amount of $10,000 with one surety. Also in court news today, John Parker was brought before the courts once again and was referred to by Magistrate Clifton Warner as an experienced campaigner due to the fact that he has had numerous cases before the courts. Parker was arrested and charged for assault occasioning bodily harm. Police reports state that according to a bar owner in the Q-Town area on the 31st of October 2012, Parker was within the vicinity of the bar and was warned to leave. It was said that Parker hit the bar owner with a rock, causing him to seek medical attention at the Cheshire Hall Medical Center. This time around, Parker is saying that he was working in his defense by hitting the gentleman with the rock because he was being taken advantage of. Parker went on to say that the bar owner came up to him from behind and slammed him to the ground and stumped him in the face. He also said that he sought medical attention for his injuries, which could still be seen in the courtroom today. Parker was remanded until November 16th. Doreen Quelch-Missick Stubbs has been reappointed as the chair of the Turks and Caicos Islands Human Rights Commission for a further 3 years. This was announced by His Excellency Governor Rick Todd, who also made 4 new appointments to the Human Rights Commission. Pastor Dennis Swan, Patricia Saxton, who is the director of the Turks and Caicos National Museum, Carl Simmons of Tropical Shipping, and Sophie Stambrook of Karam and Missick. According to a government press release, together they provide collective expertise on health, law and human rights advocacy, human rights and corporate/commercial law, nonprofit organization management, community outreach, business, and banking. Todd said he would like to take this opportunity to thank the outgoing members of the Human Rights Commission for their sterling contributions these past 3 years, adding that the UK's 2012 Overseas Territories White Paper is clear that the UK government expects the territories to abide by the same basic standards of human rights as the UK, and that the territory governments have a duty to ensure local law complies with relevant international conventions and court judgments and is non-discriminatory. One of the first tasks of the new commission will be to work with the governor, government, and chambers to take steps to further strengthen the HRC in line with and in support of its duties under the Constitution. The Human Rights Commission is one of the 6 constitutional bodies in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The 2011 Constitution establishes 6 institutions for protecting good governance in the Turks and Caicos: an Auditor General, a National Audit Office, a Complaints Commissioner, a Director of Public Prosecutions, a Human Rights Commission, an Integrity Commission, and a Supervisor of Elections. That's our Sun TV News package for today, Wednesday, November 7th. Until next time, when we bring you more real news as it happens, directly to your computer, your mobile phone, or your tablet. Until then, I'm Leslie Garland, and thanks for watching.